All right, Graham, let's do this. Your first spaces on X. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's great.
So this is Graham Down, CEO of Cascadia Minerals, CAM on the TSX Venture, Porphyry Explorer, Copper Gold Porphyry Explorer in BC and Yukon. And before we dig into some of the latest company news, Graham, sort of what the vision of CAM.V is.
Yeah, no, I'd be happy to do that. I could go on and on, but I'll kind of keep it succinct here for you. Some of your listeners, and as you know, because you've been to the property of the Rackley Gold Project, in my former position as CEO of ATAC Resources, we had Canada's only Carlin-style mineralization with ATAC Resources. I had started working in the Yukon in 1994 and pretty much worked there most of my career. So, and then took ATAC from an explorer to finding Canada's Carlin-style mineralization at the Rackley Gold Project, and then we ultimately sold that to Hecla Mining last spring. And but prior to that, we were positioning ourselves. We kind of saw the writing on the wall, and we started identifying copper assets, copper gold assets, and we started picking up projects in the Yukon and British Columbia, the PIL Project down in BC, and then I think. As you know, we optioned a prospector came to us from the Yukon who was following up on some 90th percentile silt samples just southeast of Carmax in an area that had never been explored for copper gold before. Came to us with some just spectacular surface samples, and we optioned the Catch project off of him, and that's turning out very well for us, as you can see with the discovery of copper gold porphyry at Catch and today's announcement of epithermal high-grade gold at the AMP zone, which is a kilometer north of the Spark zone at Catch. So that's kind of a really high-level bit of background on how. So sorry, I should say that Cascadia was formed from a spin-out of the purchase of Hecla of ATAC Resources. We were able to hold on to the copper gold assets and spin those out into Catch. And that's where we are now. So, yeah,
I see.
good,
So
yeah.
Hecla bought your former company. Acquired your former company, and they weren't really interested in porphyry exploration.
I think so. I think because the Rackley Gold project that they bought off was huge, and we just wanted to collaborate with them. And I don't think the copper gold assets would have got much attention. We said, like, well, why don't you become large shareholders of us? We can do the work. We know how to work in the Yukon. We can help transition the Rackley Gold project, and it's worked out quite well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So fast forward to today, and it's been an eventful summer for Cascadia. And with the news you put out on the 22nd, the morning of the 22nd, which was Monday morning, you announced the results from, I believe it was two holes 6 and 7 at Catch. And just give us some context on these holes and what the objective was here and sort of your take on the results there at Catch.
Yeah, 100%. So just rewinding a little bit, late last year, we did the first 2 diamond drill holes ever done on this property. So this is not this story, for your new viewers or people looking into this project. It's never been worked on or drilled before we got onto the project. So the first 2 ever diamond drill holes were late last year, and both holes hit copper gold mineralization. We set up on an outcrop with almost 4% copper, and can't remember it was 30-ish grams gold. So that was a pretty easy place to start it up. And then we got 0.3 copper and 0.3 gold over 160 meters. So just an amazing start. And the big thing about these copper gold porphyries is sometimes it takes 20, 30, 40, 50 holes to find it. And we've done that in our first 2 holes. So this year we had some really nice IP anomalies, and we had a nice anomaly over 300 meters away. We were a little hesitant to step out such a long distance, but you want to be able to demonstrate size, and we were very fortunate. And the third hole ever drilled on the Spark zone, that's where we got 0.37% copper and 0.22 gold over 100 meters within a much larger, broader section of 177 meters of, I think it was 0.25 copper as well, and 0.15 gold. So I think the big thing to take away here is like we've definitely tagged into a system, and now the objective of this year was to obviously hit more mineralization if we could, but also, and more importantly, get some kind of orientation on where the hotter parts of this system is going to be, where you get into what's called the potassic core, where you get into higher grades. And where we do see potassic alteration in these holes, like in hole 006, you start seeing a much bigger bump up in the percentage of copper and gold. So that's the ultimate goal. And it's going to take a few holes, but now we know that we're going in the right direction to find it. And that's why we've started drilling today on our second phase of drilling it at the Spark zone.
Okay, so to be clear, especially for people that watch this on YouTube, we're talking about the Spark zone at the Catch project. So the Catch project, if you look on the company presentation, is quite large. There's even a map of the full property in the news from the 22nd. But we're specifically talking about the Spark zone, which now I believe Cascadia has drilled 5 holes at the Spark zone. And they announced the results for, I think, 3 of those actually on Monday morning. And the best one was hole 6. And hole 6 was collared furthest of the 3 collars to date to the southeast, and it was drilled southeast, and it had the best grade. So it tagged into 106 meters, grading 0.37% copper, 0.22 grams per ton gold. So that's a copper equivalent grade of just above 0.5%. So that's a decent hit. Now, the market response sold the stock off, and I want to ask you about that, Graham. What was your take on the market response? And was it just a matter of some people had really high expectations, and the the results of hole 7 and 6 just didn't quite stack up?
I think that's definitely there. I think so. Going back, when we were doing the drilling, we had enough money to do the drilling. We knew we needed to raise some money, and what we ended up having to do, or deciding as a company, is that because we were seeing more blebby chalcopyrite in the hole, and we were just uncomfortable with doing the financing, knowing that we're seeing more chalcopyrite in the core than we did in our discovery hole of 0.3 copper and 0.3 gold. And it was just kind of abundance of caution to tell the world that we're seeing a little bit more mineralization, because the mineralization in our discovery hole from 2023, you could hardly tell that there was the chalcopyrite copper mineralization was so fine. But in hole 6, we are starting to see this blebbier chalcopyrite throughout the hole. So we wanted to tell the world about that. But I think that ultimately ends up, heightening expectations, even if you kind of try to downplay it. But we wanted to make sure that we were, on side, and we did that. And so there would be definitely a component of, people having higher expectations that this is going to be like a phyllo hole of 1% copper, 1 gram gold kind of thing. So that wasn't the case. I would disagree that 0.37 copper is actually quite good. And understanding that we're just in the early days here. So you're going to have a spectrum of investors and what they're coming in for and what their expectations are. And I think also on top of that, the other 2 holes that we did do, they didn't really hit as good of mineralization. But what it did do was it told us which way to go. So all in all, technically, it was a great success in our opinion. We're not deterred. We're excited about the next 3 holes that are going to be going in the southeast direction. And, I think, we're rebounding today, albeit that's probably because of the high grade gold that we found to the north. But, we're in a great position. We've got a great target. We have multiple targets. And to your point, it is a very large property, and we have multiple, like the Volt zone further to the north. We've got the AMP zone now, which is a high-grade epithermal gold target. We've got the Spark zone. And our latest release, there's a bunch of areas with high grade or high copper geochem that we just haven't had the time to get out to. So it's a large project with a lot of shots at finding distinct zones of mineralization.
Okay, so 5 holes drilled to date at Spark. Hole 1 was drilled in 2023, and that tagged into 45.8 meters of 0.3% copper, 0.15 grams per ton gold. So for the very first hole ever drilled into a project, that's good because you hit metal, you hit grade, and so put it into context. The average copper porphyry deposit in the world today grades between 0.3 and 0.4%. And those are mines in operation. So actually getting grades above 0.5% copper, above 0.6% copper is extraordinary. And those deposits are really special, especially in Western Canada. I mean, 0.3% copper is the grade of a porphyry deposit. That's extremely standard. So actually you guys, right out of the gate, you're hitting grades that could be mineable. Now, of course, you got to show scale. So with hole 6, you hit 106 meters of higher grade gold and higher grade copper than hole 1. The results of holes 2, 7, 8 also give you a vector where it seems like you want to step out to the southeast. So just give us a little more background on what gives you confidence that Southeast is the way to go. And perhaps you could speak into this morning's news where you showed the magnetics.
Yeah, I mean, Adam's probably the best person, our VPX, to kind of talk about that. But I mean, it's pretty obvious that we're seeing, now that we have 5 holes in this, we can kind of see a bit of a trend in between the 2023 holes and 006. The zonation, like for the example, for hole 8 that was drilled to the north off the pad that had 06 with the good grade, you're getting into much more pyrite. You're not seeing the copper grade. So it's just everything right now is telling us to go to the southeast. It is kind of straightforward. It might not ultimately, over time, we might find something different. These just things evolve as you go, but all indicators are that we're moving to the southeast. We have an incredibly good technical team with Rob Karn, Bill Wenjanowski, Kurt Allen from Hecla, Ed Cope, XVPX for Barrick, Alan Wilson is a porphyry expert that we use as well. So we have a lot of brain power that's going into this. The alteration we're seeing in hole 06 is really telling us that we're going in the right direction. We're getting into a hotter area. So I'll kind of leave it high level there. We're very confident and that's the right direction to go. Who knows? Again, we're very early, but we're confident in that. Moving
Yeah.
to, sorry, if you want to go on that.
Yeah, no. So just you drilled into potassic in hole 6. You hit the highest grades over the longest widths. The best pathfinder for copper and gold is copper and gold. So you're following the grade. That makes a lot of sense. But also this magnetic map this morning, I'm seeing there's a mag high also off to the southeast, and you actually didn't extend it. It kind of runs out there in the corner. So it could be that actually that magnetic high is getting stronger to the southeast. And so that has me very interested in these 3 step out holes that you just started on. And then, so let's talk about AMP now. So this morning, I mean, these grades are phenomenal, but they're an outcrop. So let's not get too excited. But
Yeah, fair enough.
1,000 grams per ton gold just sitting on the ground.
It's wild. I've never seen that kind of grade before, and to have another one just a little ways away from it come back with over an ounce gold as well shows you that it's not just a one-off. And one thing I would say about this, these are big samples, and we're not high grading thin veins of mineralization. Like the geo that went out there just said I think it was near the end of the day, and they had to get a heli pickup, and they're like, well, let's just take this whack of bunches off of this outcrop. And we were quite surprised, frankly. We haven't even had a chance to really get back out there and follow it up. But I've never seen that kind of grade before on an outcrop sample. And I wish I was on video. We actually asked to see if there's any gold left from the rejects of our our sample we sent into ALS, and we got a whole bunch of gold flakes back. So it's pretty incredible. But like you said, you don't want to get too crazy excited about it. It is phenomenal. The fact is, a kilometer away, you get these epithermal targets or deposits that can be very close to copper gold porphyries. And to have this kind of high grade in an outcrop is spectacular. It's a standalone target. Potentially, it could be its own deposit. You never know. It's just a real testament to the size of this system. We need to figure it out. We need to get a drill on it, and I'm looking forward to doing that at some point. So I think, I've looked up down in Peru. You see these things kind of happen. There's a deposit down there. You see the copper gold porphyry, and within 500 meters to a kilometer, you can have another epithermal gold silver deposit right beside it. So and they kind of telescope off of copper gold porphyries in some cases. So it's
Yeah,
super encouraging. Yeah.
yeah, that's exactly right. This is a classic setting for porphyry. You're seeing all the things that you would want to see for a new discovery to be made. Now, we will see what the future holds. With the magnetics map, is that area over near AMP? Is that sort of high priority now with the strong, magnetics showing up over there? I mean, is that something that you're going to work up to maybe, go there in the next 6 months or year?
I would love to get a drill on it this year. Like, we just started the second phase of 3 holes down at the Spark Zone. I would love to put a little bit more money in the till and get a drill on the AMP zone if we can. We can extend. What's nice about this project, it's not high in the Alpine. We can extend that program. We do need to do some more work on that. Adam, the crew are working on it right now, and yeah, I would love to get a drill on that. I'd love to get a drill on the Volt Zone up to the north. I don't think we have time to talk about that one, but that's where actually the majority of the at surface copper gold mineralization is at. Yeah, the AMP zone just needs to get worked up. I'd love to get a drill on it. I'd like to go into it with like more than just one hole though, because you just never know. But it definitely needs some more work in a drill hole for sure.
Okay, so hole 9 started today at Ketch. At Spark Zone at Ketch, stepping out to the southeast, and then you'll drill holes 10 and 11, which are further step out to the southeast. Final topic, I do want to talk about PIL because you got a rig there too going right now. So tell us about the PIL property and what you're targeting there.
Yeah, PIL's a great project. It's in the Toodoggone. I'm sure a lot of your listeners will know the Toodoggone. We optioned that off of PIL Minerals a couple of years ago, and we've worked it up. It's a huge road accessible property. It has one thing that we wanted to do is get some road accessible projects. And Finley and their team has had this for a long time, and they've done a really great job out at PIL. We just kind of went in there and went back to doing systematic work again, and the PIL South target is what is the first one that got highly ranked. And we did some initial IP, and then we did Titan IP. Titan was used to found ChemS North. We did that on the PIL South, and we got just a spectacular geophysical, kind of your classic porphyry target, geophysical target on that. And yeah, we're halfway through our first of 2 deep holes into that project, into this called the PIL South, where we have lots of nice copper, silver, and moly mineralization at surface. Finley back in the day did a couple holes, but the holes that they did, it makes sense. They were either deep or off to the side, off section from where we did our IP, and they intersected a lot of the pyrite, upper level pyrite that you would see in a pyrite shell. We're trying to go deeper, and if your viewers have time, you should check out the presentation and the target that we're looking at there. It's spectacular. And what's nice about that too is the road is down elevation, so the target that we're going after is closer to the road level, which is nice as well. So yeah, halfway into it, and we're excited about that one as well. So, and we've got a lot of irons in the fire, and I'll just quickly say that we staked a bunch of our own copper gold porphyry targets in Yukon as well, because the Stikine, which hosts a lot of these major deposits in BC, actually goes up into the Yukon. But there's been very little to no exploration in the Stikine and the Yukon, and we want to kind of be the first movers in there. So we picked up a couple of new projects there. We actually and optioned another one near Casino, the Sands of Time, and so we have a lot of things going on right now.
So just to summarize, PIL. So you're in BC. You're in the right belt of rocks to make a porphyry discovery.
Yeah.
You've got high grade rocks in outcrop and float at surface, near surface, all over the place at PIL, right above this classic porphyry signature in the chargeability, where you can just go on Google and pull up what does a porphyry look like, and you get these really strong pyrite shells all around the top and the sides of the core of the porphyry system. And the core of the porphyry system, you have like an ore shell, and then you have a core, and that's where the copper sulfides are.
Yeah.
And so this chargeability, anomaly is like almost textbook. I mean, is it too good to be true? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But it's worth testing, especially when you have that smoke at surface, right? And you're in the right belt of rock. So it's sort of like check, check, check. So you're halfway through the first hole at PIL. How many holes are you going to drill at PIL? How deep are the holes going to go? And when are we going to know what we hit?
Yeah, exactly. Well, you kind of nailed it. It made me think about something like, looking at the PIL South, it's kind of funny. It goes back to like kind of what we're seeing at Catch as well, because if you look just to the north of PIL South, you see the high-grade epithermal target called the Atlas. And their previous work from Finley did some great work there, found 78 grams gold up to 490 grams gold up at the Atlas. So you're seeing maybe some telescoping coming off of PIL South as well. I mean, it's within a kilometer, maybe a kilometer and a half of PIL South. So that's the beauty of the PIL project. It's got epithermal and copper gold, and obviously the other players in the area have really nice high grade epithermal copper gold targets as well. So great jurisdiction. We're doing 2 holes, probably both around 800 meters, depending what we see. And that's kind of what we have planned. Unfortunately, because we're well into the season and we're going to get backed up by ALS with Chemex for we're like late July. It's probably not going to be till way into September that we get any results from that.
Okay, but okay, so the holes are going 800 meters. You're halfway through the first hole. Is that right?
Yeah, I think we're 550 meters or something in the first hole.
Okay, all right. And the target is about 600 meters deep. Is that right? So you're getting close to the target zone.
We are.
Okay. All right. The suspense. All right. All right, Graham.
I'll leave it there.
Yeah. Let's leave it there. A lot of suspense. I can't wait to see another update from Catch and from PIL. Maybe in a month or two. Good luck. And I'll keep following you guys, and we should do another conversation when the time is right.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Cheers. Thanks, Graham.
Okay, thanks so much. Bye.